He's just changed. He's just thrown up caution to the wind and said, in fact, I'm not going to wait for the trial to play out. There's been no trial yet. There's not even been a finding of probable cause. Tyler Robinson hasn't entered a plea of guilty or not guilty. You know, Benny likes Johnson. I mean, Benny Johnson. I always say he likes Johnson. He likes the Johnson family name. He goes by Johnson. He could have picked a stage name. Johnson's a pretty common name. Maybe it could have been like Benny Phoenix or, something crazy. But no. Benny likes Johnson. So he stuck with Johnson. So we've got Benny Johnson. Let's take a look at Benny Johnson back in the day, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Benny Johnson early on after the tragic death of Charlie Kirk.
But the fact that this individual had an escape plan, was able to pull this off and then leave undetected. Charlie Kirk travels with a phalanx of security guards. There's no less than 10 highly trained military agents with him. They're not actively in the military. Many of them have served and trained at the highest levels. Charlie Kirk has an excellent security team, one of the single best in the business. Charlie Kirk, and it is often his events are staffed with law enforcement, as this event was. So to be able to evade all of that, to be able to get a single shot, not one shot, this shooter was not going for mass casualty, was not going for terrorism, a single shot, it was one, according to all available evidence, a single round from 200 or more yards, without anybody accurately capturing or noticing the shooter. And then the shooter disappears and is currently still unapprehended. Yes, there is reason for people to believe that this is a professional hit job.
Reason to believe this is a professional hit job. Have any of those facts changed? Are all those facts not still the same as they were on that day? It'd be one thing if new facts came to life and you'd say, well, I didn't know this when I said that, so now I'm confident he did it. No. The facts are all the same. Charlie had an allegedly elite security team. The alleged assassin was able to sneak in and sneak out without being seen. He was able to fire off a single shot from distance, not unreasonable distance, but distance. None of that changed. But those were the factors that led him to believe that it was a professional hit job, perhaps. There's reason to believe it's a professional hit job. I'm going to play a little more of this clip here.
John Solomon is an excellent reporter, and Steven Crowder has some leaked information. I want to talk about both. I want to begin by saying that I'm very, very close with Charlie and his team, and here's what I wish to relay to you from them. That there is some considerable evidence that there were state actors involved here. That's it. I don't want to go any further than that. I can't go any further than that. That is what I've been told.
So not only was he convinced, based on the elusiveness of the alleged assassin, that it was a professional, not a 22-year-old gay kid from St. George, but that it was a professional hit job, potentially with state actor involvement. In fact, there was considerable evidence that there were state actors. Well, has that changed? Has he ever given an explanation of what the considerable evidence was that there were state actors at play? I don't think so. Now let's fast forward. That was in the hours, really, after it happened. But now let's fast forward to Benny Johnson in November. So that was Benny Johnson in September. Now let's go to Benny Johnson in November. Is he satisfied, ladies and gentlemen, with the arc of the investigation? Is he satisfied with the arc of the investigation? Well, let's go back to the Benny Show.
What's up, guys? Benny. A question I get asked regularly in interviews and live in person at Clemson University this week at a Turning Point USA speech that I gave. is, are you satisfied with the investigation into Charlie Kirk's murder? And I'll give you the straight answer. No, I'm not satisfied with the investigation. I am unnerved by some recent developments in the investigation, including some missing evidence. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But a reminder that Charlie Kirk was a young, aspirational, generational leader who was bound to become president of the United States one of these days. He was a massive cultural force, a generational talent to be reckoned with. Everyone could see. I've seen this play before with the killing of JFK. JFK was murdered 70 years ago. It did also happen on camera, a lot fewer cameras those days, but the federal government lied to us about that murder. How do we know that? Well, because the voluminous JFK records, not all of which have been released, but some of which have been released just this year, finally, after everybody involved is dead, show that Lee Harvey Oswald had been bumped by the CIA. But the CIA not only was tracking with, but was making physical contact with Lee Harvey Oswald in the days leading up to the assassination of JFK. They've been lying to us for 70 years about that. It's a very important piece of information. And so I don't want that to happen with my friend Charlie. I don't want to be lied to. And it seems like they're setting up, potentially, the opportunity to lie to or deceive us. And let me explain what I mean by that. I know that there are an enormous amount of theories online right now about what happened that day. I have decided that what I'm going to do is stick with the known available physical evidence that we have right now. I'm going to let the trial play out. We're going to ask legitimate questions. We're going to be open-minded, and we're going to be respectful in the way that we deliberate over this. And I'm simply going to present to you all available evidence. And here it is.
Guys, he opens by saying the federal government lies about high-profile political assassinations. I agree with you, sir. I agree with you. They lied about JFK. They lied about Martin Luther King. They lied about Malcolm X. They lied about RFK. And I think they've lied about Charlie Kirk. I don't know why we can agree they lie about all these other ones, but for some reason in the Charlie Kirk case, we just insist they're telling the truth. We don't have any real evidence of it. He said he wasn't satisfied with the state of the evidence. Well, the state of the evidence remains precisely the same as it was back in November when he made that comment. So what has changed? We know Benny's changed. We'll take a look at that in a second. But what particularly has changed? He's given us no explanation. He's just changed. He's just changed. He's just thrown up caution to the wind and said, in fact, I'm not going to wait for the trial to play out. There's been no trial yet. There's not even been a finding of probable cause. Tyler Robinson hasn't entered a plea of guilty or not guilty. There's been just a little bit of evidence put forward in front of the judge sitting as the magistrate, and Benny Johnson's like, yeah, I'm convinced. I'm convinced. So he lied. He lied back then. He was not intending to sit back and wait on the evidence, or maybe he was at the time, but no longer is he. No longer is he. He even goes on to raise a particular point that we've raised on this program. I will fast forward to that and show you this now, because Benny gets a little heated talking about whether or not we have chicanery afoot. Is there chicanery afoot, particularly around the time Tyler Robinson turned himself in?
The activity here, you can see a figure running across the roof and jumping off the building. Again, I want to show you all available evidence as it comes in. And I would love to show you, for instance, this famous footage of Tyler Robinson being arrested. Tyler Robinson being brought in by his dad, as the story goes, right? Brought in by his father. Thanks, Dad. I don't have it. Oh, no. It's been deleted. Well, that's strange. CBS News 2 investigates, discovers possible missing evidence in Charlie Kirk murder case. Well, what is that? We requested the surveillance video from the sheriff's office. There's cameras everywhere in the sheriff's office. But the sheriff said that they deleted the video of Tyler, of like the most famous political murderer of our time, of recent political or news memory.
Yeah, and that's still a fact, Benny. That hasn't changed. That hasn't changed. So you remember how you were suspicious that they might be lying to you and covering stuff up and withholding evidence and not giving you everything, and you were going to sit back, Benny likes Johnson, and you were going to really just take it all in and just make an evaluation as the evidence rolled in? I remember that. That was on November 20th. Well, let's fast forward to December 10th.